We have Dina Anderson with us today, and she's going to be talking to us about Chromebooks and Chrome browser, and we're very excited. She's going to be taking us through some of the different apps and extensions. Welcome, Dina.
Hello. We're going to talk about Chrome and Chromebooks today. So anything that you can do on a Chromebook, I think 100%, somebody will probably catch me on something here, but you can do in the Chrome browser. So if you don't have to be on a Chromebook, you just have to be at a laptop, PC, Mac, whatever, and have the Chrome browser up. Use the apps and extensions. There are some features just built into the Chromebook, but mostly we're going to talk about apps and extensions today. Now you might be wondering what's the difference and does it matter? Essentially, no, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to go ahead and give you some background information just in case you're curious, or maybe it answers a question for you in the future. An app, let's talk about apps first. An app will add web functionality. It runs like software applications do. It kind of runs in the background. It's a discrete application. It could also potentially take you to another website to do what you need to do. So it is web-based. An extension and apps you find up here in this corner, upper left-hand corner of your screen when you're on the Chrome browser. An extension actually lives in the browser, if that makes any sense at all. It has to live in the browser to work. It changes the way the browser works. It's always available, and it can be enabled or unenabled, so to speak. I'm going to change something on my screen here real quick to show you that. So your extensions will live up here in the right-hand corner of your screen. Right now, I just have one little icon here, and that's my Extensity extension, because it's managing my extensions, and I have them all turned off right now. So that's going to be one of the first things you want to add if you haven't, and I'll show you how to do that. But is that Extensity extension? I have trouble saying that. Extensity extension. So if you left click on that, it's going to bring up a list. Okay, it's going to bring up a list of everything that I've added to my Chrome browser. It's kind of extensive right now. I have a lot of things on here that I'm hoping to be able to show you today. You'll see that they're grayed out, and it's because I have everything turned off right now. If it's on the extensions anyway, if you have them turned on, they're going to operate, and they might hijack what you're trying to do. For instance, if you open a PDF document, Adobe Acrobat is the typical default program. And if you have a program or an extension called Cami downloaded, then Cami is going to be the one to open it if it's enabled. So you can turn them on and turn them off as needed. You can turn them all on at once by clicking this little slider bar up here at the top. I hope everybody can see my motions. There is no PowerPoint to go with this. It's all demo, folks. So I've turned them on, except for you'll see a few of them are grayed out because I have those individually turned off. And also the Cami that I mentioned, I'm going to show you that in a little bit here. So that's one way to control your extensions. The other way, now that I have them turned on, you can see them all up here at the top of my top right hand of my screen. The other way that you can turn them off or manage them is to right click, and then it's going to say manage extensions, and it will bring up a list of everything. Again, here you can see over here, this checkbox means it's enabled, or like this one is not enabled, so it's not going to run unless I click it. This also gives you a little bit more information about the ones that you have added. These are only ones I've added. This is not a full exhaustive list of everything that's available. So let's talk about how to find out what's available. To do that, you open your Chrome browser. That bar keeps coming up on me when I don't want it to. Okay, you can also open a new tab. Up here in the left-hand corner is your apps icon, and you've probably been there to open your Gmail or something like that. That's where you can get into lots of things. It has apps that are already installed, come naturally with Chrome. It also has the apps that you've added, not extensions, but apps. So you'll see some things here that I've added. But you'll go to the web store, and you can search up here in the search bar. We're going to talk about reading apps first. And so to help with reading, we want a component called text-to-speech. We want the text to be read out loud. So I'm just going to search text-to-speech and show you what comes up. which what comes up is the top 3 extensions, the top 3 themes, and the top 3 apps. And as a caveat, when I say top 3, I don't really know who decides what that top 3 is, but it gives you 3 options. If you don't like those options, and if you know you're only searching extensions, you can click on that radio button and just extensions will come up. Likewise with apps, just the apps for that will come up, and you can see it's pretty extensive. There's lots of options for a lot of different things. Themes changes the way your desktop or your screen looks, and we're going to briefly talk about that later. That's not my main. I don't think you'll use that much. So with text to speech, you can see I've got this one right here added, this TSS reader. I've got that one. I've got this ClaroSpeak. I've got several added. I will mention that Bookshare web reader, and I don't know where it is on this list for sure. If you're using Bookshare, if you're not using Bookshare, I will say you need to talk to Kim because everybody needs to be using Bookshare. But if you are and it's not working well in your Chrome browser, you might try adding the Bookshare web reader extension. I don't seem to have a problem with it when I just use it in the regular Chrome browser. So I honestly don't know what its benefit is, but if you're having trouble, that might be a way to fix it. The first one I'm going to talk about is Announceify. And so I'll just show you again how it comes up. I'm not going to search for each one that we do. Oh, and I spelled it wrong again. Can't type. And it's not, because it's not an app, so I need to click on extensions, and then it comes up. You can see I've already added it. So if I want it to work, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on the icon for it. I really wish I'm looking at my cycle. But I'm clicking on it and nothing's happening. And that's because it works within a browser. So say I have a student doing some research on Abraham Lincoln, but they have difficulty reading. They can use Announceify to read the screen to them. Let me see if I can do that. So when you're in the website, you click on the Announceify button.
You're now listening to Abraham Lincoln Biography, biography.com. Abraham Lincoln, February 12th, 1809 to April 14th, 18.
Okay, obviously we don't need to read all of that, so I'm going to stop it. I press the space bar to stop it. I can press the space bar again to start it. What I want to point out with Announceify, some text-to-speech programs will highlight the words that are being read as they go. Announceify is kind of the opposite. It grays out what's not being read. So can you see here in the middle of the screen here, this is grayed out, or at least the text is, not the headings. So that they can't see until it's being read. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it would take a lot of our time. But when it got to the end here of endowed him with an enduring legacy, it would gray this out, and then it would open up this to be read. So that kind of reduces distractions. You can also see, as I click back to the original page, that it's got all this extra stuff on the page over here on the left. It's got the pictures. It's got this video at the top. And those can be distractors for our students. And so Announceify removes all that stuff. It's got the relevant pictures, but not anything that's extraneous that could be a distraction. So that's what I love about Announceify. Another one that you might consider is Select and Speak extension, and I don't have all of mine memorized here. Let me see if I can find it. If not,
Well,
I go to the...
I was going to say,
Go ahead.
while you're looking for that, Dina, I was going to say when we were practicing this and you showed Announceify, this is the one I said, this is a game changer. That's something that teachers are asking about a lot. You know, what app or extension can we use to just have text read out loud and, you know, remove all of those things that are distracting. So, you know, if I'm not mistaken, I think Announceify is going to be something that our teachers really like and will be able to use a lot.
Well, I hope so. There are a lot of options for text-to-speech. So if you are working with a student and whatever you're trying to do isn't working, go try something different. I've actually got way more on my list here to talk about probably than we have time today. The Select and Speak.
Text not found. Try refreshing the page.
Okay, good point. Thank you, Chrome lady. Sometimes we have to refresh the page to get the app to
Now
work.
listening to Abraham Lincoln biography. Biography.com.
But I want Announcify to go away, and I want to do it through Select and Speak.
Born Owen Day. Walt Disney. Biography. Remembering Nelson Mandela. Quick
Okay.
facts.
And
Name.
now I'm not even sure
Abraham
what it's
Lincoln.
reading.
Occup-
Let's pop. Okay, there it went.
Occupation. United States Representative. United States President. Lawyer. Birth date.
It's reading this over here on the left-hand side.
1809. Death date. April 15th.
So you can see that it doesn't decompress the web page, so to speak. It doesn't take out the distractions. It's going to try to read everything on this page, and that may be good. It may not be good. It depends on your student. So it's good to kind of compare. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to compare Announcify to Select and Speak, so you can see that it's there's differences. One app or extension may work well in one case, and you may need to find something different for another student. So just be aware that there's lots of options out there. You should know that like for Select and Speak, there's a free version, which is what I'm running, but I'm limited to 500 words per day. You can get a pro version for $2.99 a month, and you get unlimited words. There's also a school and teacher version, which I don't have details on, but you can request information from that through the Chrome Web Store. The TSS Reader is an app, so I'm going to show you where that is, because that's still a text-to-speech, but it operates as an app. And I thought it would show up over there, but it didn't. So I'm going to go here. Maybe I have it turned off. TSS Reader, unlimited text-to-speech. Okay, so here you copy and paste something from a website, a document, from anything. Because it's an app, it operates outside of the web browser, or it can operate outside of the Chrome, or outside of a website, is what I'm really trying to say. And you could copy and paste something into this. So if I had, I'm just going to go back to, did I lose this little bar here? It drives me crazy. I'm stuck on Abraham Lincoln. I hope everybody likes him. I know Wikipedia, we don't like our students to go there, but I'm using it because it's easy right now. I can copy and paste, go back to my text-to-speech, TSS Reader, and paste it in there.
Abraham Lincoln, February 12th, 1809, April 15th, 1865, was an American statesman and lawyer.
Okay, so that operates outside of the browser, and you have to copy and paste what you want into it. So you can see 3 different ways to do text-to-speech. There's 2 more. Let me see if I can hit on them real quick. We've got Claro Speak app, which is also an app. And turn on. Oh. It does not want to come up for me. I'm not sure why. Let me try this other one. Extension. This is another extension. It's called Claro Read. Keep losing aid.
Dina, would you say that text-to-speech is still the most requested type of extension that people are asking for?
Either that or speech to text.
Okay, so people that want to be able to use their voice to input into the
Yeah.
documents they're creating. So that's pretty popular too.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a video that's trying to play for me, so I'm going to stop it. And the Claro Read Chrome extension, when it comes up, it gives you this little toolbar up here. And so I'm going to press the green play button. Hope that this, sometimes the videos will mess them up. Okay,
Abraham Lincoln was the 16th President of the United States.
I'm going to stop it. I can move this little toolbar around, which is nice. Let's get it out of the way. But you highlight what you want read and then press the play
Civil
button.
War and brought about the emancipation of slaves. Who was Abraham Lincoln?
And then it does keep going. Okay. It will, I would say, I mean, it did seem to keep going there, but sometimes it doesn't always. No. In researching apps and extensions, I will tell you guys this. I found a lot of people, a lot of reviews that would say, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And then a lot of other great reviews on the same thing. So I do think that there can be some variations on how well things work. But I've had pretty good luck as I've played around with these in preparation for today and having some consistency. I did have a little bit of difficulty with having the text-to-speech read out loud for me. And so one thing I did after reading a review was to go and add another voice. And is it going to show up on here? I have so many things I can't find them. So you should know that you can delete things if your extensity gets too busy. But I'll just show you here. So I went and I searched for speech to text, and I found another voice that when I downloaded it, then even though it's not being used, it still seems to work for some reason. It's not going to show me where it is right now. It was the OS speech voice, I believe. All right, it didn't come up for me. I know it's in here somewhere. If you all have any questions at any time, feel free to type them into the chat box, and as I'm flipping through things, we'll address them.
I was just going to mention that back when we were using Solo 6, Don Johnston product, and then if you tried to use Kurzweil 3000 or something, sometimes those voices would compete with each other. So it would, just be a situation of, something would be working and then it wouldn't suddenly. And it kind of seems like exactly the opposite of what you're saying here. Adding a new voice suddenly makes it work. So
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't figure it out, but that's why it's really good to be on the quiet list and you can type a question in, and the other people who are trying out these apps and extensions and other software, chances are they would have asked this question and they're dealing with the same situations, and they might be able to help you find the answer, as well as like you did, probably checking reviews, just Googling it to find out some of these answers, why something might not be working.
Right, yeah. Okay, the last one I'm going to talk about with text-to-speech or some sort of reading app or extension is Snap and Read Universals. Kim mentioned these just now, these subscription-based programs. And I don't have it downloaded. It does have a subscription fee. I think it's $3.99 per month per student, but there's also different ways as a teacher or as a family to get them. So that could vary a little bit. But it will read accessible and inaccessible text, such as websites, images, Google Docs, ebook readers, emails, PDFs. It will simplify the text. If the language is difficult, it can simplify it. There's a translator available, and it also, which is a really cool feature, allows for the capture of information so that when they're writing papers and they need to cite their sources, it allows them to capture that information easily. Okay, let's flip to a different topic. Let's talk about writing, the written composition. So things that kiddos have problems with, grammar and spelling. Ginger is a really fun extension. to add. And okay, it's going to tell me I got to refresh my tab again. So in Ginger, I need to be typing something is my problem. I need a Google Doc. Google Doc.
Hey, while you're doing that, we did have one question. Do
Okay.
the students go through and operate these apps independently, or do the teachers set them up and then just hit play when ready, depending on which one they've decided works best for them?
I would have it set up for them, but that's the cool thing about these is they run automatically. So if you are, I say that, but yet like take Announceify for instance, you would be on the website and then would have to click on the Announceify icon up in the top. And so you would want to teach your student where that is and show them that. But some of them will click over automatically, like for instance, Cami, when I get there. And so once you use it and understand how it works, then you'll know the answer to your question, essentially.
So not really a hard and fast rule. Might depend on the student, might depend on which app or extension you're using.
Exactly. Okay, so here I've got Ginger up. I had to be in a document where I would be typing something. And so if I start typing something, today's weather is great. I don't know where you are, but it's cold here. Okay. I thought it would give me that as an error. Let's spell great differently. Sometimes it's hard to make automatic mistakes.
Oh.
So it highlighted the problem. It's a spelling and grammar checker. It highlighted the problem. It gives me the option to change it, and we go on. Once everything is typed like you want it, you copy and paste it into the document you need. I didn't get it copied well. It's a spelling and grammar checker. Word has a spelling and grammar checker. You may not need something like this, but if you need something different from what the student's already using, then this is an option. It is free. You can get it with a subscription to get more features. You can accept or decline the suggestions. You can add words to your personal dictionary. So that's how that works. MindMup, and I'll spell that if you're taking notes, MindMup 2.0 is a kind of a graphic organizer. So for kiddos trying to write papers and organize their thoughts, it's an app that they can use to build their ideas. Once you open it, you go to create new map down here. It's an app, so it works outside of what you're already doing. And I'm going to use Abraham Lincoln as an example. Say I'm writing a paper on Abraham Lincoln. I think I have too much going on my computer right now. It's not wanting to open things quickly. Any more questions while it's opening, Kim? Oh my gosh.
Well, we don't. I love Jean-Luc Picard. We don't have any other questions right now,
Okay.
but yeah, for
Okay.
anyone who is joining us, please use the chat and go ahead and let us know if you do have questions. Wow.
Okay.
Wow, Dina's working.
Yeah. I'm going to go to my Google Drive and see if I saved the one I was working on. Or if I went through and deleted everything. Wow. I don't know that having the Zoom open and all of this stuff going on is working well. Okay. Please open, please open, please open. Does that work? While it's coming up, you can see this toolbar from that other extension that I was using is still showing up here. So sometimes it's good to go turn those things off so they don't get in your way. Okay. This was really cool. I really want to show you guys this. I'm back to Jean-Luc. Okay. Hang on. Get this out of the way. I'm going to try again. Thank you for your patience, folks.
I would ask you more questions and try to keep you talking, but I don't want to distract you from what you're trying to figure out. But I will just say that anyone who has questions, go ahead and enter them in the chat. And I'll mention that I know who most of you are, so I will send you a certificate of participation in our webinar. And if I don't send it to you, just send an email to me at your convenience. My email is kimberly.berry@okstate.edu. I'll enter that in the chat as well in case you don't know. And then for those who are not able to join live with us, we actually put our webinars on YouTube and have them captioned and everything. And so you're able to, at any time go back and watch it again, share it with your colleagues, and they can watch this webinar and any of our other ones. And they're able to get a certificate of participation or completion for having watched the archived webinar. So you just have to email me the information about what you watched. We might have a quiz for you to answer questions, just so we know you really did watch it before we send out a certificate. But we're happy to do that. So you can be checking our website and finding out, accessing any of those archived webinars.
Okay, I've got it up now. So this is a blank, untitled map. So to start, you either press space or double click the first little thing it gives you. It's called the root. It's where we start. So if I'm writing a paper on Abraham Lincoln,
Abe.
it's going to talk to me because I've got this open. Let's see if it can use. Okay, now say I'm going to talk about three things. I'm going to talk about his early life. So I need what they call a child of Abe Lincoln. And I'm going to title this Early Life. Now I need a sibling for it because I'm also going to talk about his political career. And I'm not spelling well. We'll use my spell checker in a minute. I need another sibling or another child. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. So I'm going to do undo. I meant to do another sibling. Oh, and I did undo. And did too many times. Political career. And then another one would be his presidential. Well, where did it go? Okay, so in early life, we'll go on to that one. We might talk about his birth. And then we also might talk about his education. I'm making them go away. It's really not that hard to use. I'm just clicking when I'm not supposed to. Let's go back and give him another child because I decided I wanted to also talk about his presidential. Career. Okay, and then we might, under presidential career, we might talk about Civil War, Emancipation Proclamation, and you can just keep going, and it will allow you to move things around like that so that they make more sense to where they go. And then they can take that and start writing their paper from, it's kind of like an outline, but it's a graphic organizer. It is also free, but again, has a paid version that has more features. You can save it to Google Drive It also will stay within MindMup for 6 months. Okay. Now, another aspect of writing is a dictionary, and so yeah, that was it. Good Word Guide is a good place to be able to search for definitions, pronunciations. It will give an audio pronunciation. It will give synonyms. I'm not going to go there right now in the essence of time because I also want to talk about organization. And there's a couple of fun things for kiddos who have difficulty staying organized. One is called OneNote. It is a product of Microsoft, so you do have to have a Microsoft account to be able to use it. But it will allow you to copy and paste information from websites, and it will maintain, I lose my Abraham Lincoln website again. Great. So by clicking where I am, it's going to add it to OneNote. This biography, okay? You can also tell it to do a region of it, and by that I would drag to select. Okay? I can tell it to do the article citation and also bookmark it. Still wants to play this video.
Keep reading.
Another option for organization is a extension called Symbaloo, and I haven't used it, but it appears to work like Pinterest, and you get a, here I'll search for it so you can see what it looks like, even though I haven't used it. I thought it looked kind of fun, but I haven't actually used it. Symbaloo. It will bookmark pages, and then it gives you a, that didn't pull up what I wanted. So when you bookmark the page, it then gives you a screen like this that has the different icons on it. Let's talk about speech recognition, and that's also known as voice recognition or voice typing or speech to text. Oftentimes used for students who have difficulty getting that concept from their head out through their hands or for difficulty with handwriting. And in Google Docs, there's it's not an app or extension, it is just built into Google Docs, and so can be used anytime you're in the Chrome browser using Google Docs. It's called voice typing. You find it under tools. And once you click on this microphone voice typing, it gives you this microphone out here. And all you have to do is click on the microphone and then start talking. Period. It will type whatever I say. Period. It's fairly accurate. Period. It's actually really accurate. Question mark. Backspace. Delete. There. Okay, delete. Period. I'm going to click the microphone to turn it off. But you can see I can tell it to backspace or delete what I just typed. I can tell it new line so it can start a new paragraph for me. It is really easy to use. Dragon Naturally Speaking was the big name in speech to text typing for kiddos, and this is just super, super easy to use. It doesn't have all the features to control your computer like Dragon does, although they are, it's in beta testing. There's a program for Chrome called Voice Commands, I think, and it's in beta testing right now, so you can download it, but I haven't since it's just in the trial mode, but can do more for operating the Chrome browser for you just by your voice. There's also an extension called Dictanote, which can be used as voice typing. Again, if you're working in a Google Doc, I would just use the voice typing. It's super, super easy to use. If these don't work for them, again, there's a ton of different apps and extensions out there to use. Okay, real quick, I want to talk about physical access. And you may have noticed that when I was in a browser, a website, there were some arrows that were showing up on my screen. See if I can get back to a website. I apologize, this is just running super, super slow.
Okay, we had one question too while you're doing that. Can Announceify be used with accelerated math or accelerated reader? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't tried that. It does not work on all websites, particularly if it's a secure website that HTTPS, it can have problems. So, and I'm sure that one is. So I don't know. You just have to try it. But I haven't tried it. If you do try it, let me know so I'll know the next time someone asks me that question.
Good. And then we also had a comment that Abrina says, love the voice typing feature, so easy to use with my kiddos. So she's having a great time with it. And even kids who have some speech difficulties, she finds it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it used to be the original products that would come out, you had to speak very, very clearly. You couldn't have any problems at all, or it would mess up what it was typing. And that voice typing I've been very, very impressed with it. So click-free browsing is an extension, and it's just a little bit of a physical access. If somebody can't click where they need to click, then when you've got the click-free browsing up, you can see right to the left of my pointer, there's a little arrow showing up. And so all I have to do is hover over that area, and it's going to click on that for me. But the arrow moves sometimes. And it could be, this also has a problem with HTTPS sites, and so that could be why it's not wanting to work on that one for me. It does work on the AbleTech website. Let's go to AT Discovery. If you haven't ever been to AT Discovery, you need to check it out because it's got lots of resources in all different areas of AT. Case studies, talks about different products. Okay, you can see that arrow that showed up. I've changed my pointer size. That may also be why I'm having trouble getting things to click for me. Well, trust me. Well, you can't see that I'm not clicking anyway. But when I hover over that, it would count as a click, and it would go there. Oh, there it went, finally. I got the right spot. You can actually blacklist sites for this, so it won't work on those sites. And you can tell it to enable it for the HTTPS sites. It can also work with switches if you have a switch interface. And do I have time to talk about one more, Kimberly?
Let's see. Whoops. Cancel.
Do I have time to talk about one more?
We have about 3 minutes. So yeah, I think you can talk about one more.
Okay. For kiddos with vision disabilities, sometimes changing the contrast on a screen will enable them to read things they couldn't otherwise read. When I mentioned that there's something called themes earlier, this is a way to change the theme of change the color contrast on your websites. And there's one called yellow, high contrast. And so it will change your background to a yellow and blue and black features. And then there's also one called high contrast extension. And I have to admit, when I found this, it changed my life because I don't know why, but as I've gotten older, I don't particularly like to read much anymore. It's just a little bit harder. My vision's not as good. And when I click on high contrast extension, it's going to let me, hopefully.
It's a big build up for it, Dina.
I know.
It's gonna have to work.
Ready to go. Come back. What it will do is it will do something along the lines of what the yellow high contrast theme does, but it will make my screen black and my font white. Or it can also do grace. It can also do colors, reverse the colors too. Oh my gosh.
Sometimes these things just don't work under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are coming to a close, so if anybody else has any questions, we've got about a minute. If you had more questions you wanted to type into the chat, I'll ask them. I will pose them to Dina.
And I'll just say that if you've heard me speak before, you know that I was an occupational therapist in the schools for many years. And one of my frustrations was I knew there were things out there that could do what students needed, but I didn't have time to look for them. I didn't have time to research how they worked or anything like that. So that's the fun part of my job here is I get paid, so to speak, to do that kind of stuff. And so if you have a question, if you know there's something out there but don't know how it works or whatever, if you want to send me an email, I'll see if I have time to look into it and give you some feedback, because this has been really fun to prepare for this webinar. I wish everything had worked like it did when I was working with it, but
sometimes that's just the way it happens. I'm going to share my screen that has our contact information on it. And so that will wrap us up. Thanks very much, Dina. And thanks, Dawn, our captioner. And thanks to all of you all who have joined us today. Again, I'll send the certificates for attendance if I've got your email. If not, then please email me. And as Dina said, we actually get paid to research your questions and try to find answers for you. So please contact us if you would like any additional information. Thanks, and everybody have a great afternoon.